What's up, guys? In this episode, we go over The Evil Pumpkin by Fortin Amplification. Stay tuned. What is up, you guys? It's your boy Luis Torres, and yes, I now will be featuring my beautiful microphone because I just have to. Guys, huge shout out to Nameless Sammy over in Vermont, and I just needed to give my boy a shout out. So the Fortin Evil Pumpkin. So it's an amp that has been around for about 2 years at this point. So if you look at NAMM videos from 2 years ago, you'll actually see Jason Frankhauser, who this is his signature amplifier, playing it along with a bunch of other musicians. And, you know, at the time, this was basically, you know, just before COVID kind of came into play. And it was one of those amps that everyone was kind of expecting would be an amp that just goes through the roof through as far as popularity goes, and that everyone would own it. And of course, that had to be shelved because of a little global pandemic that we had, but it looks like it's back in the works. So much so that there is a shop on Reverb that you can actually go ahead and have a pre-order already set. So once they start getting it in inventory, you pay the difference, and I don't know how they're going to do that. You know, I'm assuming it's going to be some kind of a deposit up front and then either pay the full balance or, you know, who knows how they're going to go ahead and do it. But as a Fortin aficionado turned Fortin hater turned Fortin aficionado again. I've been on both sides of the fence, and listen, to this day, I have my Fortin Cali there, and my Fortin sigil right here. So here's the one thing. I love the fact, and for all of you guys that have gone ahead and sent me messages saying, yo, you don't have an orange amplifier. It's just that I don't like the color. I don't like the fruit. So because of those two, I don't like orange. So that's why you never see me with an orange amplifier. But this guy right here is as orange as you're going to end up getting overall with the color scheme. But if you look at Jason Frankhauser's Marshall, which is a Fortin modded Marshall, you'll see that the whole thing is actually orange. And that's definitely something, and I'll put a few links below. I feel like that amplifier is going to turn heads. And watch the videos because you'll be shocked at how incredible they are. So, or that amp is. So here's the one thing that I kind of wonder, because of how the enclosure looks, and I could be completely off on this. I'm guessing that it's not going to be Metropolis that's going to be building them. Metropolis built the Fortin Cali and the Fortin Meshuggahs, and they kind of still have that Marshall feel, right? Like if you look at my Cali, it looks like a Marshall with a Fortin badge. And that's basically what it is, right? It's basically a Fortin modded Marshall. And then there's the sigil, and the sigil is great, but it's basically a better version, in my opinion, to the Dover amps. So that being said, the way they look in contrast, I would assume that it's going to still be Dover or Victory, whichever two you want to call it, because Victory makes Dover and they kind of outsource some of their production to China. So in the UK, it's you can have parts built in China, and then as long as you put it together in the UK, it's UK built. I mean, shoot, this thing still has the Made in England badge on it. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it off without tearing it. Please hold. All right, Made in England. This is the original badge or little thingy that was attached to my Fortin sigil. Is it really made in England? Parts, I guess it was built and put together in England. But from my understanding, the chassis and the overall metal enclosure was actually outsourced to China, which, if you got to cut costs, that's what you got to do. So from looking at the Fortin Evil Pumpkin, it kind of looks like my Fortin sigil, just a larger version. The price tag is kind of crazy. It's $34.15, I think is what it was. Let's call it an even $3,400 plus shipping. So let's call that an extra $50 or so. So you're looking at about $34.50. Add the taxes, and you're now looking at $3,600. So here's a good question. Do you get the Fortin Pumpkin since it's $3,600, or do you get something else? And as someone that has Fortin gear, their amps are, the Fortin Sigil and the Cali are without question, without hesitation, two of the best amps I've ever owned and have ever played in my entire life. So there's something to be said about that, where do you really care where it was built and put together, or where the chassis was made, since the end product is that it's going to be 1,000 times better than the PV Iconic. Of course, I had to sneak that in. But that's a price tag. Now, at $3,600, are there other amps that you would consider? Because that's a lot. Like, dude, not everyone can afford $3,600 for an amp. Like, there are guys that are going to end up selling a bunch of their gear just to end up with this one amp. And trust that I get it. Again, I have the sigil. The Cali is without question absolutely incredible. So I completely understand why people will go ahead and start getting things ready. Like my boy Ryan this morning shot me the message, and he's like, yo, the Fortin Evil Pumpkin is in production. And I did some research and got got a little more info on it. And he's already getting ready to financially be prepared, so when this amp launches, he's going to end up getting one. Ryan makes probably more money than the average person, and if you look at his gear, I think his gear speaks for itself, that he can afford it. Not everyone can, and do you go out on a limb to get the Fortin Evil Pumpkin? The hard part is trying to justify buying or paying that much when you've never used one. For everyone that has one, the answer is yes. It's probably going to be absolutely through the roof. It's going to be an incredible amplifier. And then, of course, you'll be supporting Jason Frankhauser, who is a Solar guitar artist who has his own signature model with Solar also. And a really nice guy. Like, legit, he's genuinely a nice guy. So, you're supporting someone that's an active professional musician, and but that price, dude, that thing is expensive. It's expensive. It's pricey. I'm not gonna lie, dude. It's pricey. So let me know in the comments below if you guys intend on getting the Evil Pumpkin. And then here's one thing that I'm hoping for, because there is such thing as a Fortin Sigil. could there potentially be a Fortin mini pumpkin down the road? Because that is going to be the sale of the century. That's going to be the amp that everyone's going to end up getting, is a mini pumpkin. Just like when Apple computers, had their iPads, and I was always thinking, like, dude, make a smaller version. And apparently Steve Jobs, while he was alive, was just like, nope, we're never going to have or ever make something smaller than the 10-inch. And then it took for Steve Jobs to literally pass away for the new CEO to say, we're going to make a 7-inch. And that's what they did. So they made the 7.9 after Steve Jobs had passed. And that's just because the guy that was kind of not interested was also the owner and the founder. And you kind of can't go against that guy. Anyway, so a Fortin mini pumpkin would be absolutely incredible. Of course, it would be priced, I'm assuming around $1,500 as far, with inflation being where it is, maybe it'll be a little more. But just keep in mind that, there's an evil pumpkin that's being built and is currently in production. And I think a lot of guys are going to be super excited about it. I'm excited about it. Maybe not at the price tag, but, if I ever get my hands on one, if someone gets one locally, I'll just end up buying it. AJ, that's your cue to buy it. You have to buy it and then let me use it. AJ's a guitarist in my area, and he just flips different amps, and they just keep progressively getting better and better. So guys, again, click on the link below, click on the description. I'll put a few links on there, but again, leave your comments. Let me know what you feel about the evil pumpkin. And again, I'll put links below. That way you guys can hear it if you haven't really heard it, or if you heard it 2 years ago and haven't, visited those videos. But it sounds absolutely incredible. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and let's see how the evil pumpkin goes. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.